So when you first come into the administration tab, the first area you're at is set up user accounts. So set up user accounts is where we've set up your reviewer accounts as well as any admin accounts. And then also you can see here, this is where you can also see your applicant accounts that have been created. So set up users is where all those user profiles are housed. And here in this functionality, you will see the applicants' names and their email addresses. So this is the email address and the names that they've created when they first logged in, as well as the type of role that they have. So you can see here the majority of these are applicants because applicants are the majority of individuals coming into your site. And then this type column here, if you have integration with single sign-on, then this type column would have some effect. This would tell us where they're coming from. Are they coming directly from your site into the system, or are they logging in through the Communityforce login page? So if you don't have integration with single sign-on, which you would know if you did, then this column here really doesn't have much meaning to you. It just kind of defaults to the items as things are created. And then the status column over here, this lets you know of these user accounts, which ones are active and which ones are not active. So if they say active, that means they can log in and it's an active account. If you come here and you see an inactive, that means that that's applicant or that user profile is no longer active in the system. They can't log in. But however, you do have the ability to activate an account if they ever decide to come back and need to be able to use that account. And then this little icon here is the edit icon, and then this trash can here is how you would delete a user profile. Now we want to really stress caution. If you delete a user profile of any kind, you delete all history associated with that user account. So when I mean history, I mean any applications they've created, if it's reviewers, any scores they created, that sort of thing. Anything that that individual has done and accessed on the site, scores, reports, applications, that will all be deleted if you delete their account. So that's where the inactive comes into play. So to inactivate an account, so if someone was to leave your organization and you no longer wanted them to have access, but you wanted to keep their information, then you would want to inactivate them. And to inactivate anything you want to do, you have these columns here where you would select that individual. You would come here, select the name, and then come over here, and then you'll see over here more options. And then here's where you would make them active. And you select it, and you can see they're inactive. I can come over here, select it again, and now they're once again active. So that's how you can make someone active or inactive. There may be occasions where someone can't seem to get their password and they need you to reset it. Here in the more options, you do have the ability to reset them. You can come here, select them, hit more options, hit reset, and then it would send them notification in regards to how to reset their password. They would receive an email in regards to that process. And then again, here's the delete. This is for multiple deletions where you could select multiple and then delete. Again, delete them. You've deleted their applications. Reviewers, you've deleted all their scores that they've scored on any individual. And then of course you can see you can export this report to Excel. So that's some of the key edit functionality that you have here on Setup Users. You'll also notice you can create users from here by hitting the Create User button. And it's simply a matter of filling in the fields. Anything that has a red asterisk, of course, is the required fields. You must enter that information. Now on the scholarship site, you do have a date of birth. Organizations, you will not have that date of birth. However, organizations, when you create a user, you will notice that down here in the lower right-hand corner, you also have their organization name, and that's important in the system. And that's this organization here, not to be confused with the sponsoring org, but this is the company organization name here where you would enter that organization. So once you enter the information, then you come down here to role type. So the main role types you'll be working with, you have the reviewer, And then you also have applicants. Those are the two main ones that you'll be creating. The other ones are licensed users that we here at Communityforce will more than likely be setting those up, like department admins, global admins. Those are ones that we would be creating for you. So of course, if you're creating a reviewer account, a reviewer is someone who is reviewing in the evaluation process of your scoring or rubrics or any type of review process where you have reviewers that you need to have those accounts. Those would be reviewers. And then applicants, of course, are any applicants coming into the site. If you needed to create accounts for them, you can do so through this create users. And then the sponsoring organization should just default to your organization. This is you, this is the sponsoring organization that's maintaining this account, not the organization on grant site. Do not get this organization confused with the actual organization that they're logging in with. This is that organization here. This is their login organization. Sponsoring organization is you. You're the organization sponsoring the site. Now you'll also see here you have an assigned password manually. So this assigned password manually, you can assign an individual a password. You can see once you type it, it doesn't show you what you're typing. So of course you would have to remember what it was that you gave them. However, what I like to do when I create a user account is I'll create their account, let the system assign a password, and within the system it automatically does that. When you hit save, you don't have to assign the password. And then I usually tell the individual, log in, use the email address that I've created on your account. I give them the email address, and then I tell them to click the forgot password. And then when they click that forgot password, the system will send them an email and they can create their own password that way. You don't have to remember that on their behalf. There is an authentication email that goes out that you can also say yes. And what that does is it notifies this individual if you have this turned on. So you might want to use caution if they don't know you're creating an account, because what this does, as soon as you click save, it sends an email to that individual notifying them that you've created an account on their behalf. If they don't know you're creating an account on their behalf, then they may contact you and may have some alarm by not knowing that. And then of course you can make it active, yes or no. And this is scholarship site, same. Grant site, same information. Okay. One difference on the grant site is, as a grant user, you have those organizations, and there is a there is another training session on manage members. And when managing members, that's where organizations have the ability to maintain user accounts for others within their organization. If someone is a primary user, then that primary user has access to everyone's accounts within that same organization. Now, you scholarship users, you do not use this. You do not have this primary user. This will not have any functionality on your site. You don't have that primary user functionality. If you notice here, it's not here. It's only on the grant site. And grant users, you would want to, if you want to know more about how to use this, you would want to make sure and review the video on manage members and changing of ownership, because that primary user comes into play on that managed members functionality and changing ownership.